As Ubisoft promised, there has been no new Assassin's Creed mainline game this year. Of course, there's been the side-scrolling ones, and there has, of course, been the release of the Ezio collection, but they have not done a new Assassin's Creed next year, and there might not even be one next year. And it seems that Ubisoft is implementing a change of tactics for the future of Assassin's Creed, as Ubisoft is going to be fully committing to a philosophy of focusing on game worlds rather than on scripted stories. The next Assassin's Creed game will be the first project to launch with that new direction, and this was said by the Chief Creative Officer Sergei Haskell, whose name I probably just butchered, so my apologies, in an interview with Le Monde. And he said, quote, "The game is becoming less important. What interests me is to make worlds that are interesting to me, even as a tourist." He did also hasten to add that as long as the characters themselves that you meet in the game are interesting, then it can be up to, quote, the player to amuse themselves. Now, he also spoke of their internal plan to design every game as what he called an anecdote factory, an approach they did actually discuss publicly back in 2014 with regards to the development of Far Cry 4. Basically, the game is to give you the tools to make your own fun rather than them have dictate it from up top in the development castle. And he said, quote, "I don't want the player to go through a story created by someone. We have games like that still, but I ask more and more that we let the player write their own story, that they themselves set a learn time goal, identify the opportunities that are open to them, and choose not to follow a path that was decided for them." Now, it does seem that this attitude from Ubisoft is very much being shaped by the popularity of YouTube and obviously Twitch, and even sharing GIFs and so on Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr. And basically, Haskell said that Ubisoft wants Ubisoft to give games to players that allow you to express yourselves in a, quote, sufficiently interesting way for them to want to share it with other players. Now, of course, in both Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, with most mainline missions, you'll get a cutscene beforehand that kind of explains the game and fills out the overarching narrative as you progress. And Haskell said that seeing non-interactive cutscenes and cinematics annoys him because, quote, "it takes away my ability to express." And he said, when speaking of the brand new Assassin's Creed game, that they have created a system in which, quote, "what I do doesn't just affect the moment but the long term as well. My actions will change the world." Now, here's the thing. For the good Assassin's Creed games, the story was actually pretty good. I was mostly there for the gameplay and the world itself, but the story was still pretty good. Obviously that's changed as the games themselves just become more and more rehashed, just more and more going through the motions of Assassin's Creed, basically just being Assassin's Creed another one each time. Now, Syndicate was, I would say, better than some of the other ones previous to it, but it still was Assassin's Creed. You know, it wasn't very innovative in what it did. So I don't want them to abandon the story altogether, to be honest. I still want there to be a story for you to discover, and my worry is, it's like, yeah, give you the tools to make your own fun. It's like, okay, but does that mean we're going to get a lot of repetitive missions? Does that mean there's not going to be much direction? Those are my concerns about that. But if it's implemented well, this could actually be a really cool idea. An evolution of it, a different way of tackling story, perhaps maybe make it a bit more Dark Souls-esque. With there's very rarely ever a cutscene where all the story is told through interactions that you have with the very few characters that you meet, and the documents you pick up, and the item descriptions, that sort of thing. Like, they're probably never going to go full Dark Souls, let's be real, but something along those lines perhaps could work. Less cutscenes and less times where I'm just sitting there with the controller in my hand waiting for them to stop talking is definitely good. But I'm not against cutscenes like at all, because sometimes they are useful. I just think they are like a seasoning. You need to use them sparingly, you know? So, an interesting vision for Assassin's Creed, but of course it's all about the implementation, and we don't even know when this next Assassin's Creed game is, or what it's called, or when it's going to be set. So, the proof is in the pudding, is what I say to Ubisoft. So, if they can breathe new life into Assassin's Creed and return it to its glory days again, I'm down. Sign me up, Ubisoft. We'll have to see what happens. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.